You changed your jacket here, Greg, for the
Yes,
promo
I
a
did.
second ago.
Yes, I did. I went from springtime to winter.
Well, outside our window here, it's still nice and shiny.
Yes,
Nice
it is.
and bright. It's
Yes,
great.
it is.
Sunny. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, though, in the mortgage world, right? You've got there's still some great programs available for people. First of all,
Well, if people keep wondering, can I still get 100% financing? You know, even though
Right.
all the changes have taken place, all the abuses are gone, all those crazy loan programs are gone, is there still the ability to borrow with zero down?
Right.
To have zero down, and there is.
There still is.
Absolutely.
Because that was one of the
Veterans-
things that I just kind of figured was long gone. Like
a lot of
2008,
peop-
I
a lot of
figured.
people do, and that's why I wanted to talk about it this morning. The VA, veterans, still don't have to put anything down.
Right.
If you can negotiate for the seller to pay your closing costs, which many veterans are doing through their realtors, you can actually buy a house with $100.
Wow.
There's no more down payment or cash necessary than $100. And the $100 is just there to seal the contract. You have to have offer, acceptance, and consideration.
Right.
The consideration being the $100 on the contract.
That's the stamp.
That's the stamp.
The
And
$100
the
stamp.
program is a wonderful program, and we have so many veterans in Albuquerque and New Mexico because of our military bases.
Oh, yeah.
And it also goes for active military, okay, so active military and veterans. And it also goes for people in the National Guard and the reserves who've been activated for a year. If you've been activated for a year or more during your entire service, because you know there are career folks that work over at the National Guard.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And if you've been activated for a year or more, you qualify for full VA benefits.
That's
So,
very cool.
we call it $100 moves you in. And at Frost Mortgage, what we do is we pick up all the lender's closing costs. So we don't charge the veteran any lender closing costs.
That's huge.
It's a lot of money saved, and it's a great program for vets. There's also
Well, for vets, remind me of how it works, because there's a kind of a bank of money they can also tap into to help with their mortgage loans, right?
Yes, there are. There are various helps for veterans. There's all kinds of different things. So too many to go into here this morning, but
That's a 1 hour
lots of
show
help.
on its own.
Well, it is. It's probably a 30-minute show. But anyway, what you want to do is get with your local mortgage banker. Come see us, for example, and we'll show you all the ins and outs of the VA loan program. For the rest of the folks, there's USDA. For those folks that live on the other side of the mountains or just down south, you know, south of Los Lunas, there's a USDA program, and that's a 102% loan program. So
they pay you to buy a house?
actually, they pay your closing costs
Oh,
with this
okay.
2%. So everyday Americans can get 102% financing if you
Wait,
want
if
to
it's
live in the
US
country a little bit.
If it's the USDA, does that mean you got to live on a farm? You've got to have a farm. You've got
It's
to have a cow.
agricultural in nature by virtue of the fact that it's outside of the cities. It's in a rural area, and it can be larger properties. So the answer to your question is yes, it can be a small farm, okay?
But it doesn't have to be.
But it doesn't have to be.
Oh,
It
that's
can
cool.
just be a rural house on 5 acres. And those are hard to finance with the regular loan programs, but not so with USDA. It's a special loan program. It's a niche loan program for people who want to live in rural areas. And then, of course, there's the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority loan program for first-time home buyers. And first-time home buyers can borrow. It's a first mortgage and a second mortgage. You call it a piggyback second for 100%.
Wow.
Right. It's a little tougher to qualify for that than it is for the normal 96.5% loan, but you can.
Right.
And so there are 3 programs that cover all areas: first-time home buyers, veterans, non-veterans, non-military. Everybody's got a 100% loan program that they can avail themselves of. at their
Somewhere
home.
out there.
Yes, there
You
are.
just have to talk to somebody who knows which one is
Absolutely
the right one for them.
knows what they're talking about.
That's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
That's
it
huge.
is.
Yeah, I figured after the crash, all of that stuff was just gone.
Well, you know, it's amazing, but the VA loan program has been around since the 40s, since the end of World War II.
Yeah.
And that loan program performs extremely well. So high loan to value is not necessarily a criteria for poor loan performance. Actually, the vets...
That's what they used to say.
That's a common thought process that is inaccurate when you look at the VA loan program or the USDA loan program or the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority loan program. The facts belie the impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
And so I've always been told, though, that you got to have skin in the game. You got to make something happen, you know?
I know.
And that's really not true anymore.
It's not true. We qualify the folks. What you have to do is you can't have both a high ratio loan and no qualifying or limited qualifying. And that's the trouble we got into in 2007, 2008. We had high ratio loans, 100% loans, with minimal qualification standards. The qualifications,
super low credit scores.
Super low credit scores. And that's just not the case any longer.
Yeah.
You got to qualify. If you can prove that you pay your bills, you can get a 100% loan.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So I've been wanting to pick your brain about this because late last week I saw that the general consensus among economists now is that the interest rates are going to be bumped up to about 1.25% at the Fed's next meeting in early December. And we've been talking about this off and on for weeks now, and I think it's kind of a big deal. I mean, that will really change a lot of your business, right, if that happens?
Well, there's always a negative response. There's a knee-jerk negative response
right, for like 2 or 3
rates
weeks.
go up. But now remember, I'm the guy that picked the Lobos to be bowl eligible this
right,
year.
you were saying no one believed you, and you were like, they're going to be 6-4.
Now I'm going to tell you, I still don't think the rates are going up in December. I think this has been a knee-jerk reaction out there among the economic talking heads about some good jobs numbers and some good GDP numbers. I think we need to, before we get all excited, is wait for those revised numbers to come in. As we've talked about several times on the show, the jobs numbers come in very healthy, and then all of a sudden you get your revision a couple weeks later and they weren't so healthy. Same thing with gross domestic product, you know, how many things were sold.
I don't think GDP really has much of an impact on interest rates. I think they look more at the jobs numbers on that.
They look a lot at the jobs numbers, but they also look at how robust is our economy. If our economy is starting to heat up, then they're more inclined to raise interest rates. If it's stagnant, they're more inclined to leave them where they are.
Right. Well, I think we're more worried, too, about inflation right now.
And inflation is simply, inflation is not there.
Not there at all.
Okay, not there at all.
Right.
So that metric says to me no rise in interest rates. Based on, I couch it with, let's see what the revised numbers are.
Right. We'll see what happens then at the March meeting, I guess will be the next one, right?
Well, then, yes, in the next couple of weeks we'll get the revised numbers out for last month.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
We'll hold you to this.
Yes.
We've got you on record.
I'm on record.
And we're going to put Tim Nisley and Kelly Cooper on the record in just a minute. They're in from Sync, the new nonprofit incubator in South Valley.
Great.
I love this idea.
I love this idea,
right?
too.
It's cool. We'll see you back in a couple of seconds in the Morning Brew.